If you're a man over 40 and you've gone looking for the truth about testosterone, you already know how confusing it is out there because the internet has basically split into two camps, and both of them are lying to you. On one side, you got a crowd that says testosterone never matters. You're just getting older. You're tired because you're soft. Push through it. It's all in your head. On the other side, you got an entire industry that's turned hormones into a pipeline, where the answer is for every man over 40 is the exact same answer. And the answer is always, get on something. And I'll be straight with you. Neither one of those is the truth. The real version sits somewhere in the middle and is both more reassuring and more limited than either side wants to believe. So that's what this is. I'm not just gonna hype it. I'm not gonna just scare you. Just what testosterone replacement is, what the newest science found, and the honest answer to whether it's the thing you've been missing. Let's get into it. So let's start with what we're talking about, because a lot of guys are arguing about testosterone replacement without a clear picture of what it even is. TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy, and the key word is replacement. The idea is straightforward enough. If a man's body isn't making enough testosterone, a doctor can prescribe testosterone to bring his levels back up into a normal range. It comes in a few forms: injections, gels, pellets, and a doctor manages it with blood work. That's the plain version. But one fact changes this whole conversation, and most of the hype is going to skip right past it. When you add testosterone from the outside, your body's going to notice, and it's going to dial down and shut off its own production in response. Your brain basically sees there's plenty around and stops sending the signal to make more. That's not a side detail. That's a core thing that the replacement means. You're not topping off a tank that keeps filling itself. You're actually handing the job over. So already you can see why just getting on something is the wrong way to think about this. This is a medical intervention with a real trade, not a pre-workout, and that trade is the part that the ad skips. Which leads straight to the next question. Who is this for? There is a big difference between what testosterone is approved for and what's actually sold for. Testosterone is approved for men who have low testosterone caused by actual diagnosed medical conditions. Doctors call it hypogonadism, and it can come from specific problems with the testicles or with the part of the brain that signals them. That's real, and it's diagnosable. And for those men, treatment helps. I want to be clear about that, because the point of this video is not to tell you low testosterone is fake, because it's not. Now, the line that matters: testosterone is not approved for low levels that come down to getting older. The regulators have been clear on that. There's no approved testosterone product for age-related decline on its own without a diagnosable medical cause underneath it. And that gap between what's approved and what's being sold is exactly where low T industry lives. For years now, older men have been the target of ads and awareness campaigns built to make a normal part of aging feel like a disease you need to buy your way out of. The marketing has run miles ahead of what the actual evidence supports. So when you feel like every clinic and every ad is nudging you towards the same answer, you're not imagining it. That's the design. So before any of the science even matters, hold on to this. It's approved for a diagnosed condition, but marketed for aging. Keep that gap in your head, because it's the thing that makes sense of everything else. Now, the science itself, because there's a piece of the news that changes this whole conversation. For a long time, the scariest thing hanging over this whole topic was the heart. Years back, regulators put a strong warning on testosterone products about the possibility of increased risk of heart problems. And that warning shaped how a lot of cautious doctors and a lot of nervous men thought about it. So this is the part worth getting right, because the picture is clearly changed. There was a large trial built specifically to test this, and I'm giving it to you as a third-party science, not as a promise about you. It followed more than 5,000 men, roughly ages 45 to 80, who had low testosterone and were already at higher risk for heart trouble, and it tracked them for around 3 years. The finding was that men on testosterone did not have more major heart events than the men on placebo. The rates came out close to even for the two groups. That result was strong enough that in early 2025, regulators updated the labeling across testosterone products and removed the older heart risk warning from the box, while still keeping clear that these products aren't meant for low levels caused by aging alone, and adding a note to monitor blood pressure. So read that carefully, because the hype crowd will try to twist this. It does not say testosterone is a fountain of youth. It does not say every man should be on it. What it says is narrower and more honest. For the men who were studied, it was more reassuring on the heart than the old scare made it sound. That's real, recent, verifiably updated, and good news for the right person. But reassuring on one risk is not the same as no risk. And the honest downsides are the part that the ads leave out. That's next. So let's talk about the trade. Honestly, the way someone isn't selling it to you would. Remember the fact from the start that adding testosterone from the outside tells your body to slow it down its own production. One of the most concrete places that shows up is fertility. Because of how it shuts down the body's own signaling, testosterone can lower sperm production. It actually has been studied as a male contraceptive for that exact reason. For a lot of men, that's reversible after stopping, but not always. So if having kids is anywhere on the table for you, this is a real conversation to have with your doctor before you start, not after. The other well-known one is your blood. Testosterone can push your body to make more red blood cells, and in some men, that thickens the blood enough to where it has to be watched because it carries its own risk. That's not a reason to panic. It's a reason this belongs with your doctor who runs your blood work on a scheduled instead of a clinic that keeps the prescriptions flowing. So put the science together honestly. The heart news got better. The trade is still real, your own production, your fertility, your blood, all the things that needs a doctor watching them. I'm not trying to scare you and I'm not trying to sell you. This is a full picture. If this is the first time someone's walked you through the good news and the trade-off instead of selling you one side, the next part is where it gets useful. Because now we can take the 3 myths this topic is buried under and clear each one up once and for all. There are 3 myths that run this whole conversation, and once you see through them, the noise mostly gets quiet. Myth 1, testosterone is just a number and higher is always better. It's easy to believe because the whole optimization world online treats your testosterone like a high score you're supposed to max out. But that's not how it works. The goal of real treatment is to bring a man who is low back into normal healthy range, not to crank a normal guy as high as possible. More isn't better, and chasing a bigger number for its own sake is how you walk straight in the downside we just covered for a benefit that was never promised. Myth 2, if you're tired, flat, and not building muscle like you used to, it must be your testosterone. This one feels true because the symptoms line up so neatly, and because the entire industry is built to the point you're exactly at that conclusion. But the honest part is the heart of this whole conversation. Low energy, poor recovery, soft training, low drive. These things have a long list of causes, and for the guy who's wiped out at 44 and blaming his testosterone, the usual suspects are the boring ones. It's sleep you're not getting. It's the training with no recovery built in. It's the protein you're not eating and the heart that you're not conditioning. I've watched men become convinced that their hormones betrayed them, fix those basics for a couple months, and feel like a different person without ever touching prescription. Sometimes it really is low testosterone. Often it's the foundation, and the foundation is the thing you can control. Myth 3, you take testosterone and you're set. It's a one-time fix. But go back to the very first fact. Replacement means your body slows its own production while you're on it. So this generally isn't a short visit you take and walk away from. It's an ongoing medical commitment with ongoing monitoring. That's not a reason to avoid it if you need it. It's a reason to walk in with your eyes wide open instead of treating it like a quick patch. So testosterone isn't a number to max out. It isn't the automatic cause of how you feel, and it isn't a one and done fix. The honest question left is the only one that ever mattered. Is it right for you? And that's where I'll leave you with the truth. So let me put it all together honestly. Low testosterone is real for the men who actually have it from a real diagnosable cause. Treatment works, and the newest science is more reassuring on the heart than the old fear made it sound. That part is true, and dismissing it isn't being honest. But it's approved for a diagnosed condition, not for a simple fact of getting older. It comes with the real trade, your production, your fertility, your blood. And there's a marketing machine that has spent years blurring all of that so that a normal part of aging feels like a disease with one product-shaped cure. And underneath all of it sits the piece with no product attached and no money in it. For most men over 40, the way you feel is not a hormone problem. It's a foundation problem. The sleep, the recovery, the protein, the conditioning. Fix those first. Give it a honest, real run. And a lot of what you were blaming testosterone gets a whole lot better on its own. If you think your testosterone might be low, that's a conversation to have with a real doctor, with a real blood work, not a decision to make off a YouTube video, mine included, and not something to buy from whoever is pitching it hardest online. I'm a coach. I'm not your doctor. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to take or what to do with your own body, because that's not my lane. And anyone who does it casually online is doing you a complete disservice. And that's the truth about TRT for men over 40. It's not a miracle, it's not a scam. It's a real medical tool for the right man. The wrong first answer for most, and never a substitute for the foundation you can build starting today. So you don't have to start with a prescription. You start with a foundation, because that's the part that's yours to control. And for most men, it's the part that changes how you feel the fastest. I made a whole video in exactly that. The boring, unglamorous stuff that supports your testosterone naturally. No hype and no pipeline, just what works. If this video left you wanting the honest version of how to feel better without reaching for a prescription first, that's the next one to watch. I'll see you over there.